Chapter 2. Is it natural?
I heard from a very reliable source that male Amazon river dolphins penetrate each other in the blowhole. Literally.
The core. The debate on whether sexuality is life choice or genetic disposition has gone on for centuries. It is a belief that if one wanted to switch their sexuality, they could by will, while others accept that sexuality is a natural instinct that individuals are born with. The second chapter of this book will focus on the origin of homosexuality and how natural, if at all, it actually is. So let us begin with nature. Other than humans, homosexuality and bisexuality have been recorded in over 400 species.
Call them out. This brings a whole new meaning to a lion's pride.
Gay animals. Non-reproductive sexual behavior commonly occurs in dolphins, lions, penguins, dragonflies, giraffes, sheep, swans, dogs, monkeys, elephants, foxes, mallards, apes, penguins, and many more. Academic observations have shown that variations in sexual orientation or sexual preferences are present in several species. When given a choice, about 10% of rams will prefer to have intercourse with other rams rather than ewes. Same-sex relationships have appeared in a wide range of animals and have been recorded throughout history, but not publicized or pursued because of the ignominy surrounding the subject. Many biologists try to explain away their research as meaningless, mainly because it defies their well-known belief of Darwinism and procreation. Biologist James Mann of Georgetown University recounts, "Scientists who study the topic are often accused of trying to forward an agenda, and their work can come under greater scrutiny than that of their colleagues who study other topics." For example, Joan Roughgarden challenged Darwin's concept of sexual selection in her book, The Genial Gene: Deconstructing Darwinian Selfishness. She presented the theory of social selection, which suggests these behaviors are bonding and fellowship rituals. Roughgarden announced 26 occurrences that supported social selection rather than sexual selection. Her ideas were severely criticized in the American Association for the Advancement of Sciences, AAAS, academic journal, with more than a few distasteful remarks. The animal kingdom does it with much greater sexual diversity, including homosexual, bisexual, and non-reproductive sex, than the scientific community and society at large have previously been willing to accept, quotes Bruce Bagamill's Biological Exuberance, Animal Homosexuality, and Natural Diversity. The book compiles various accounts of homosexual behavior in animals, but also exclaims that the findings have been downplayed over the past 150 years. Same-sex intercourse between animals was often referred to as practice, mock, or nutritional. Some scientists even described this phenomenon as a nuisance, while others simply ignored it. Celebrity quote, "At least 260 species of animals have been noted exhibiting homosexual behavior, but only one species of animal ever, so far as we know, has exhibited homophobic behavior, and that's the human being." Stephen Fry. Bagamill exposed lapses in research by describing findings that recorded homosexual giraffe behavior, such as mounting and anal sex as greetings and dominance, but the same act on a female would simply be recorded as intercourse. Supporting Bagamill, further evidence proved high homosexual giraffe activity. Some scientists now know giraffes to be especially gay, due to a few studies that show up to 75% of their behavior is either homosexual or bisexual.
Wow. So, sexuality can be nature's way of controlling a population? Never thought of it like that. Guess I should apologize to that rabbit that had a hair on his back. Thank you, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I'll be here the entire book. For more information on homosexual animals, Against Nature is an exhibit found in the Natural History Museum, University of Oslo, Norway. Check it out.
Like humans, the animal practice between fish and other sea creatures is to order a physical sex change when there's an imbalance within the population. Female-to-male switches are called protogeny, while male-to-female transformations, as we see in clownfish, are referred to as protandry. These natural abilities are unique evolutionary traits that can be used to control overpopulation and benefit the ecosystem.
My friends could have saved a lot of money had she been born a clownfish.
The gay brain. The World Health Organization, WHO, categorized homosexuality as a mental disorder until 1990, when the term was declassified. To mark this historic change, March 17th is considered the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. We have seen homosexuality occur in an abundance of beasts, yet animals often behave in ways humans do not. Let's examine Homo sapiens, a species known for its innate need to understand through categorization. Despite subsequent efforts to explain homosexuality, scientists have failed to find a gay gene. In fact, the 2019 large-scale study, published in AAAS's American Association for the Advancement of Science, Science Journal, affirmed that there is no conclusive gay gene. While we may attribute up to 25% of non-heterosexual behaviors to genetics, a whopping 75% is determined by environmental factors. Hearsay suggests hormonal imbalances are responsible for sexual variation, but those studies have proved somewhat fruitless. Social psychologists like Daryl Bem have hypothesized that sexual orientation is determined indirectly by biology, but mainly originates from childhood experiences. He goes on to say that temperament and interest in gender-conforming or non-gender-conforming activities can influence a child's orientation as an adult. This belief alludes to the theory that sexuality is based on an individual's environment. Sparking controversy, his theories have been misunderstood by some, blaming parents and suggesting sexuality is a habit that can be trained in and out of an individual. British-American neuroscientist Simon Lovey published the 1991 article, A Difference in Hypothalamic Structure Between Heterosexual and Homosexual Men, which revealed key differences between heterosexual and homosexual brains. The third interstitial nucleus of the anterior hypothalamus, INAH3, is the sexually dimorphic nucleus, SDN, of the brain. Put shortly, it is a nest of cells associated with sexuality. The SDN was proven to be almost twice as large in heterosexual men than in homosexual and heterosexual female brains. Lovey accounted, this finding indicates that INAH is dimorphic with sexual orientation, at least in men, and suggests that sexual orientation has a biological substrate. Lovey's work has been severely criticized by his colleagues, mainly because some of the brains used were from people who died of diseases. However, Lovey urges the understanding of his findings and states, "It's important to stress what I didn't find. I did not prove that homosexuality is genetic, or find a genetic cause for being gay. I didn't show that gay men are born that way, the most common mistake people make in interpreting my work. Nor did I locate a gay center in the brain. The INAH3 is less likely to be the sole gay nucleus of the brain than part of a chain of nuclei engaged in men and women's sexual behavior." Research has also followed the differences in size of the INAH3 in direct relation to sexual activity in animals as well. Monkeys, rats, and otters have been known to behave according to the size of their SDN. Female-oriented rams, for example, tend to have an SDN nearly twice as large as male-oriented rams, which is similar when compared to humans.
Here's food for thought. I always imagined it was more challenging for males to dominate other males, rather than the weaker sex. In some ways, does this make me more of a man?
In 1992, 90 postmortem brains were examined by Laura Allen and Roger Gorski of UCLA. Within this collection of 30 heterosexual men, 30 heterosexual women, and 30 homosexual men, it was found that all three brains had many differences, most notably the size of the anterior commissure. The anterior commissure is a knot of nerve fibers that connects the left and right hemispheres of the brain. It joins the two amygdalae, which are partially responsible for the recognition of facial expressions, tones of voice, and body language. Amygdalae are said to be more active in gay men, especially when sexual stimulation is introduced. The left and right temporal lobes are also connected by this structure. They contribute to the placement of meaningfulness, decision making, and processing sensory input. Together, this system combined with the amygdalae enhances memory, instinct, intuition, emotion, speech, hearing, and sexual behavior. Based on the studies of Allen and Gorski, homosexual males have an anterior commissure that is 18% larger than that of heterosexual women and 34% larger than the ones found in heterosexual male brains.
Extra connections help process the value of meaning on the outside world, or what I like to call gaydar.
Similarly, Swedish scientist Ivanka Savic and Per Lindström revealed in 2008 that heterosexual men have a larger right hemisphere, while in women, both sides of the brain were relatively equal. The homosexual male brain was closer, in relation to size, to the heterosexual woman's brain. Homosexual women had brains that were fashioned more like heterosexual male brains. There are, of course, studies that challenge these theories. There is still much debate that surrounds the naturalness of sexuality, and not enough study is conducted. The big question has always been, the brains of gay men are different or feminized, as earlier research suggests, then is it just limited to sexual preference? Or are there other regions that are gender atypical in gay males? As Dr. Eric Verlaine, professor of human genetics at the University of California, Los Angeles. For the first time, in this study, it looks like there are regions of the brain not directly involved in sexuality that seem to be feminized in gay males. Anonymous artist, when did you know? I don't believe any events in life make anybody gay or straight or whatever. I think when we're born, our sexuality is already established, just like the color of our eyes or skin are already established. I think we all just discover the sexuality that's already there, whether we are aware of it or not. I knew I had an attraction to other boys when I was young, but I didn't pay it much mind until I got to high school, and hot guys started flirting with me. LOL. My sexuality didn't change at all, but the gay side that was already there kinda came to the forefront. The Kinsey Scale. Created by American biologist Dr. Alfred Kinsey, the Kinsey Scale is a measurement system used to describe the sexual responses of a person at a given time. The scale ranges from 0, exclusively heterosexual, to 6, representing strictly homosexual preferences. The scale is a self-evaluation method that also includes a level X, which marks asexual behaviors. Through strenuous research, Kinsey and his team found that the sexuality of humans can change with time and vary in levels. Though the fluidity of sexual desire may fluctuate, most are found somewhere in between 0 and 6. Written in Sexual Behaviors in the Human Male, he describes, males do not represent two discrete populations, heterosexual and homosexual. The world is not to be divided into sheep and goats. The living world is a continuum in each and every one of its aspects. Kinsey expands later to describe in his book, Sexual Behavior of the Human Female. It is a characteristic of the human mind that tries to dichotomize in its classification of phenomena. Sexual behavior is either normal or abnormal, socially acceptable or unacceptable, heterosexual or homosexual, and many persons do not want to believe that there are gradations in these matters from one to the other extreme. Since 1948, there have been advancements in the study of homosexuality and how it can be measured. Fritz Klein improved the scale with his Klein sexual orientation grid, which included specific relations to time, such as past, present, and ideal. For an even greater range of parameters, Michael D. Storms formed the Storms model that records eroticism on an XY grid. Celebrity quote, I am who I am because of the people who influenced me growing up, and many of them were gay. No one has any right to tell anyone what makes a family. Drew Barrymore. Anonymous artist. When did you know? I am not attracted to dudes. I am attracted to a certain type of man, first started with the anatomy. his hips, thighs, to his character, from understanding that in this lifestyle, that there are a wide range of dudes from awkward and sometimes strange stages that attracts people for so many reasons, even if they are some of the most stupidest and misunderstood. That in my situation, becoming in the adult age of communication, I saw way beyond the anatomy because even as a top man, I got into my feelings, never thinking I could find the same thing in a man that I received in a woman. This messed my head up, drawing me deeper in love, leading me right back to his irresistibleness, and felt no different than a woman, although I tried to fight it and leave him alone due to acceptance and paranoia. I then became assuredly comfortable because he was that dude who was thick like a chick, but mad masculine, and made me see that you don't have to be femme to take on his position or be out on the scene. He genuinely loved me and treated me better than my wife. By that, I was satisfied, and after we really got deep, we ended up understanding that it was hard to play both sides of the field and maintain our love and deep emotions for one another. Simply because I was not attracted to dudes in no kind of way, and he introduced me to this, and we had history already. The transition and choices were made easy without the blame game. I loved him. That's what got me here in the lifestyle. At the highest of the animal hierarchy, we know whether certain conduct, though it be natural, is polite, acceptable, or publicly shameful. Belching, scratching, and smelling are all behaviors that occur naturally, as well as mental health disorders such as kleptomania, necrophilia, and pedophilia. Though we share the same habitual needs with many animals, there is an obvious line crossed when that need harms another individual. This is why Homo sapiens have created law. Law provides structure to the sometimes harmful instinctive actions that can occur within the human race. It protects us from harming one another. Law should not punish individuals for acts that are harmless and natural, such as yelling, sleeping, or desiring a same-sex partner, but should continue to focus on protecting all citizens from danger. Anonymous artist. When did you know? I've always liked other boys since I was little. Around the age of 5 or 6, I liked both guys and girls, but now I only get down with the fellas. In my case, all I can say is that I was born this way, so I guess it happened naturally. No one made me this way. I have 2 other brothers that don't get down. Same parents, same lifestyle, different outcomes. I find it sometimes hard to believe that lack of a father figure is what makes someone gay. That's ridiculous, because of all those fatherless people walking around and are not gay. I think it may have helped contribute, but wasn't a big factor.